Okay. Excuse me. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parrish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Parrish. I do have the microphone on and up today. That's a good thing. I thank you all for being here. Unique Physique and Restored Motions, uniquephysique.com, restoredmotions.com. New year, y'all. Part of your New Year's resolution is lose some LBs. Go check out Unique Physique, semaglutide, tirzepatide, the once-a-week injections for weight loss, the weight loss shots that you hear people talk so much about. Lowest prices, never any contracts. You do the whole thing over telemed, and they can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So even if you're watching or listening outside of Baton Rouge, no worries. Our friends over at Unique Physique can help. Check them out, uniquephysique.com. Okay. We'll say some good mornings here. Sorry, a few minutes late. There was just some news I had to handle there for LouisianaSports.net. So the latest Saints coaching candidate rumored was Davis Webb. So you might remember Davis Webb was quarterback at Texas Tech, had a cup of coffee in the NFL. He is currently the Broncos quarterbacks coach. There with Sean Payton for 2 years, was with Bo Nix, obviously, this year. And he's 29 years old. And that was reported by Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports that the Saints had requested an interview with Webb. Well, then Nick Underhill just a few minutes ago reported that the Saints have not interviewed or requested an interview with Davis Webb. So the coaching silly season as the coaching carousel turns. My rule with respect to coaching searches, consider everything, believe nothing. So we'll pass out reports and as they come and what we have, and we'll move along as such. But Webb feels like that's probably one that's not even if he does get an interview, that's not necessarily a serious candidate to get the job, but one of those that could be, or maybe could be a possible coordinator. So, one of those where you do the interview to update your Rolodex, update your scouting report just in case, sort of thing. So, I'm putting on my socks. So it's interesting. I don't think there's much chance that he gets the job, even if he does interview. But let's see. Okay. Anyway, so we'll follow that with the Saints coaching news. And then LSU basketball last night, they get pounded at Missouri. It was not competitive. LSU scored the first basket, double-digit turnovers in the first half, led to 15 points off turnovers for Missouri. And it really went downhill. Missouri built their lead larger than 20 in the second half. Tigers made a little bit of a run. To their credit, I mean, they kept fighting. I think they got it down to 13, maybe 12. But Missouri just kept hitting big shots, and LSU couldn't get stops. So Tigers fall to 0-2. Really disappointing, man, because, you look at the schedule and it can unravel on you very quickly here, because we all kind of looked and said you had to find a way to get to 8 in conference play, because 8 and 10 in the league, with the league being as strong as it is, probably would be enough to get you in the tournament. Well, you open with Vandy at Mizzou, then you're at Ole Miss, who's ranked. You're home against Arkansas, who they've got John Calipari and some NBA talent, but they're probably a bit of an overrated team. That is a winnable game. Then you're at A&M, at Alabama, home against Auburn. I mean, you never say never, but it's really hard to imagine winning any 3 of those, especially the 2 on the road. So now I don't know that I'm picking LSU or expecting LSU to win at Ole Miss this weekend. You can win at home against Arkansas, but if you get that one, you're 1-3, and then you're staring down the barrel of 3 more losses. So you're 1-6 through your first 7. I mean, and then you get Texas, and then you're at Georgia. By the way, Georgia just beat Kentucky last night. And by the way, Tennessee, who was number 1 in the country and undefeated, lost by 30 to Florida last night. the SEC is just it's a monster. I mean, LSU is better than they were a year ago, but their record is not going to anywhere closely resemble that or reflect that because the league is just that good this year. So really unfortunate, man. But all right, we'll say some good mornings here. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post, all that good stuff. Hey, trivia, good morning. Stat Dub, little late, but I'm only late because of that Davis Webb stuff, and I had to get it posted at LouisianaSports.net. I've been here. I've been up since 5:25, man. I got up, did my cold plunge, went to Hot Works, been home, showered. I was ready to go. So, extenuating circumstances, as they say. Hey, Abner Neal, good morning. Brian Wynn, good cold Wednesday morning. Yeah, 31 degrees right now. Not gonna lie, the cold is easier than like leaving Hot Works in sweaty workout clothes and walking to the car. That's harder than getting in the cold plunge. And did they Google use? I know the SEC is loaded in basketball. It seems like the exact same thing with this team. I mean, they are loaded. There's no there's no doubt that the SEC is loaded. This team a year ago in conference has a winning record in the league. They were 500, game below 500 yesterday or last year. This team is better than last year's team, but it's still not good enough. I mean, somebody's going to finish last in the SEC, and it looks like South Carolina and LSU are going to battle for that. Disappointing, man. Hey, Bubba, good morning. Chris P, Tiger Diver, Jacob Thompson, good morning. Been missing some morning Scone here lately. Has LSU gotten a big-time safety in the portal? No, they haven't, but they are. Well, so this is actually the beginning of today's episode of Locked on LSU, if you want to check it out. But Tamarcus Cooley, who is a safety from NC State, is one of the top players in the portal. Talked a good bit about him. He's visiting Ole Miss and then expected to be at LSU tomorrow. So the fingers crossed is hope that he gets away from Ole Miss without signing with them. And then if you do in fact get him here, don't let him leave here without signing with you. So Tamarcus Cooley is there, and then we'll continue to wait on what I've been told is a silent commit at safety from one of these playoff teams, which would suggest it's one of the four remaining teams, considering none of the teams who have been eliminated from the playoff have had safeties enter the portal. So we'll continue to wait and see. Hey, Kelly, good morning. Devin, good morning. Good, sweet. Christian, brutal night of SEC, but it was, man. I mean, just look at the league. It's like, I know this isn't, this doesn't give you any solace. Like, everybody wants LSU to be good, but like when you look at the conference, I mean, Tennessee was undefeated, number one in the country. They lost by 30 to Florida. They lost 73-43. It's the number one team in the country, lost by 30. Auburn went on the road to Texas, won 87-82, squeaked past. Number 6, Kentucky went on the road, lost by double digits to Georgia, unranked Georgia. Mississippi State went on the road, beat Vanderbilt, which is actually pretty reflective of you, losing at home to Vanderbilt, and then Vanderbilt goes and loses by a dozen at home to Mississippi State. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of what it is. Hey, Thomas, good morning. Chilly day ahead. Jinglegate day 8. We'll get it. Hey, Dad, good morning. Brian Wynn, who do you like in the CFP semis? I probably think Penn State's a little more battle-tested and has the better offense than Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense is very good. So I'd probably like Penn State there. Not a lot of conviction. If Ohio State plays their best, I think they beat Texas. But I absolutely think Texas is quite capable of winning that football game. I don't think Texas can play bully ball. But they've got the athletes to make plays on the perimeter. I think the bigger question is, can Texas defensively limit Ohio State? Michigan did it. Now, Ohio State's big mistake against Michigan was they tried to go be physical at the point of attack, and they played right into Michigan's hands. What we've seen Ohio State in the two playoff games is spread it out and run verts, and they've been really good at it because they've got great receivers. Anyway, I do think there's value with Texas in the 6 points. That line, I think, was initially supposed to be like 2 or 3, but you had just a dramatic overreaction, right? You have the overreaction to Ohio State's blowout win over Oregon and Texas needing double overtime to beat Arizona State. So the public overreacts, and that always influences the line. So I do think there's a lot of value with Texas in 6 points. Carr said no to restructure. That he did not say no to a restructure, Chris. He said he would restructure. He said he would not take a pay cut, and there is a difference. He's not going to tear up his contract and take less money, but he will restructure his deal, which would lower the cap number this year, but kick money into future years. And of course you would do that because he would get his lump sum now. It's like winning the lottery and taking the lump sum instead of the annuity. Of course you would take the money now. And then it's like you figure out the cap in future years. But the problem with that for New Orleans is then you kick Derek Carr's money into future years, even when he's not going to be your quarterback. Okay, let me go turn off Drew's sound machine real quick. I'll be right back.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish Built. Parish Built. Parish Built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
All right. Parish Construction and Roofing, ParishBuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Love to give you that free no obligation roofing inspection, ParishBuilt.com. And of course, Brock, if you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. BROrtho.com, BROrtho.com. Where are we? Lost my spot. Sorry. Hey, Dale. Now that I'm recently retired, I'll be lurking here more now. Good to see you, Dale. Awesome, man. Glad to hear that. Hope you have a great day and happy retirement, man. Wendell Norman, good morning. Brad, good morning. A few years ago, someone on Morning Scone tried to get you to try cold plunging. You said no because you don't like being cold. What made you decide to try it out? Gary Brecka. I don't remember that on Morning Scone, but I don't doubt it, Brad. I hate being cold. But like when I started actually like researching the benefits of cold plunging, it was like, okay, let's give it a go. And it is addicting, man. Like it is, like I can't imagine waking up without it. Like I can't imagine starting my day without cold plunging. So Michael Cook, good morning. Patrick, good morning. What an embarrassment this basketball team is, losing to Vandy and Mizzou, losing to Vandy at home. If we don't right this ship, we need to cut ranks with McMahon. So that's not going to happen. So you gave Matt McMahon a 7-year contract because you had to give Matt McMahon a 7-year contract. Again, like I'll say it again, how were you going to convince anybody to take this job? You'd fired Will Wade. You did not know if there were a postseason ban coming. You did not know scholarship restrictions were coming. You didn't know if the death penalty was coming. You had no idea. And so you had to get someone to take this job. And so they hired Matt McMahon with the understanding that you were going to pay him a lot and he was going to he got a 7-year deal. You had to give him that stability, and they did. And they're going to be patient with him. So they're not firing Matt McMahon. You got to get used to that idea. I think the bigger question is, will LSU ever get really serious about basketball? And if you invest in basketball the way you've invested in other LSU sports, you'll win. Like you do in football, go get Kim Mulkey, you win a national championship in women's, but like you do in baseball with all the facilities and coaches and everything you need to win. Gymnastics, you hire Jay Clark. I mean, look, gymnastics is a great example. Dee Dee Bro was the coach for 40 years, and people laud Dee Dee Bro. Dee Dee Bro never did anything in 40 years. She didn't win anything in 40 years. She was the coach for 40. She had longevity because nobody cared. Let's just call it what it is. Nobody cared. Nobody cared enough about gymnastics to hold her feet to the fire to get results. So she was the coach for 40 years because nobody cared. Okay, Didi, go coach gymnastics. That was the thought. They decided they wanted to be good, and they go get Jay Clark. Well, they get Jay Clark from Georgia, his alma mater, which was maybe the best program in the SEC at the time, and he was the guy who was getting all the talent because he had all the relationships. So you hire Jay Clark, you force out Didi, and all of a sudden you build a gymnastics practice facility. Now you're a national champion. They decided they wanted to be good. If LSU decides they want to be good in basketball, they will be. They just have to decide they want to commit the resources to being good in basketball. How about the historically horrible shooting night? 1 for 24, 25, 1 point, second half on threes. I don't know if it got worse than that. That's like 3 or 4% from the field. Let's see. The final number was box score. LSU finished the game 8 of 20 from 3. So they were 40% from 3, which isn't bad. That's actually really good. And 23 of 54 from the field, so 42% from the floor. You'd like to be that closer to 50%. So and then the field goal stat just 68% from the line. You're talking about Tennessee. I was about to say, you're talking about. I was like, okay. I was like, LSU was never that. I was like, I had the game on. I don't remember being that bad. Tennessee finished 4 of 29, which is 13.8%. I was wondering. I was rolling with it, Devin, but I was like, that didn't make sense. I didn't watch the Tennessee game. I just saw the score. I was watching the Pelicans and flipped over to LSU. All right, smash the like button if you would. Let's get a few more in here. No Saint, who's going to accept a position that needs to bottom out. Will the Saints have to sweeten the deal for a coach who wants to risk reputation? No, because there's someone who's going to want to be an NFL head coach. Just like Sean Payton took the job in 2006. Payton's been on the record. Like, the year before he thought he was taking the Raiders job, like he went and bought a silver tie because he was going to the press conference. He was going to accept the Raiders job. And Bill Parcells told him not to. And the next year he wanted the Green Bay job. And when they picked Mike McCarthy over him, he was ticked, but he took the Saints job. So the Saints may not be anybody's first choice, but someone's going to take this job. You have to hit like you did on Peyton back in 06. Tom. Excuse me. Drew's thrilled to be back in class. I let him out the car. He's gone, never even turns back and looks at me. He is so excited to go. Trivia, doesn't matter what head coach we get if the roster and salary cap's horrendous for 5 years. I don't think it takes 5 years. Trivia. You will need a bottoming out, which I think is next year. And then a progress year. And Cincinnati is the best example. They hire Zach Taylor, completely bottom out. As a result, they get Joe Burrow. And in year one, they won 4 games, but Burrow's knee exploded and all that stuff. And then in Taylor's year 3, they won 9 games, 9 or 10, and they ended up going to the Super Bowl. And now they've been a double-digit win team since, until obviously this year. But I think that's the real thing that needs to happen. You have to have the bottoming out so you get the assets, you hit on the assets, and you build. Hey, Brad, are you concerned about Joe Brady getting the job because of his time at Carolina? No. It was funny. I actually we had Sean Salisbury on AFR yesterday, and he mentioned that point blank. He was like, Carolina's awful. You don't blame Joe Brady for Carolina. And it's kind of true. I mean, they've got awful ownership situation. They had Matt Rule, fired him. I mean, would they have 4 coaches in 3 years, something like that? So I think his time, and if you were concerned, I think his time in Buffalo has probably alleviated that. And in particular, last year when he became the interim OC, one of the first things he did wasn't stress the passing game. He got back to running the football, which is when Buffalo turned around. So I'm much more intrigued by Joe Brady today than I was when Carolina hired him or when he was quarterbacks coach in Buffalo. Patrick, we might not even win a conference game. They'll win a conference game. Jason, got lit Cal, Critter Getter. You're not going to hire Drew Brees to be the coach. I don't know where that started. I think that's silly. First of all, if Brees stopped doing TV because he wanted to spend more time with his family, how in the world do you think you're going to spend time with your family when you're coaching an NFL team? First of all, I don't think he has any interest. Second of all, look at when Jeff Saturday coached the Colts, Antonio Pierce, getting the job with the Raiders. Like, just because someone played, turning them immediately into an NFL coach does not always hold water. Hey, Jesse, good morning. Robbie, morning, Matt. Do you think Will Wade will leave McNeese? I do. I think from some conversations I had, the folks over at McNeese were really hopeful that they would be able to keep him for 2 years, that they would get him to stay after his first year. Well, they did, but especially now in the NIL rev share world, this is a world made for Will Wade, and I just hope he doesn't end up back in the SEC. That's my hope. I personally, on a personal level, like Will Wade a lot. He's my bud. If you know, you know. But I don't want him anywhere near the SEC. I hope he gets a great job, just not in the SEC. Hey, Deborah, good morning. Rocky, has Dennis Allen spoken since being fired? I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of. Morning, Matt. Hit the like button. Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, Christian, cold plunge will be this Friday doing an inspection in 34-degree rain. That sucks. No doubt. I would submit to you that 6 minutes in a cold plunge is way better, easier, more effective than what you're going to do doing an inspection in 34-degree rainy weather. God bless, dude. Hey, Silo, good morning. Bailey, good morning. Would we get a red face rain if we draft Milroe? I'm telling you right now, if the Saints draft Jalen Milroe, I will not cheer for the New Orleans Saints anymore. Like if that's what they think they're going to do to commit to their future is drafting Jalen Milroe at quarterback, I will not cheer for the Saints anymore. I will cover the Saints because I have to, for my job, but I will not be a fan of the team for as long as he's there. Hey, Brett, good morning. Freezing in Nashville. Thomas, 8 down, 9 to go. Let's get it, dude. Let's get it. It's the weekends that get us, Thomas. Scott, good morning. Can't believe Derek Carr would want to take millions away from his children and wouldn't want to take millions. But by the way, Scott, I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's funny when people talk about taking a pay cut. Here's the point I would make. Would you take a pay cut at your job? Would anybody do that? The only way, literally, the only way that someone would ever take, like Andres Pete took a pay cut a couple of years ago. The only way is if your contract is structured to where you have no leverage, where it's like, hey, you're either going to take less and come back with us, or we're going to cut you. And you can go on the open market and see what your value is, but the person knows their market value isn't that. And so then they would take less, which is effectively like being cut and re-signing with the team and not going to test open market. But really, that's about market value. So, but Derek Carr has got the Saints over a barrel because his dead cap number is bigger than his cap hit. So he's like, he could say, fine, cut me. And they still got to pay him $40 million. So he's getting his money either way. And I don't blame him, by the way. Blame the Saints. The Saints signed the awful contract. The Saints restructured the contract last year. Don't blame Derek Carr. Blame the Saints. Where do you think free agent Alex Bregman will sign? I hope with the Yankees. I know he and his wife built a home or bought a home in Arizona. So I was talking to Terry about this months ago, and Diamondbacks seemed like a pretty logical spot. And then obviously the Astros signed the third baseman from Arizona. So that would make sense that they have an opening there, but I don't know. Oh, it is 7:46. I got to go. My apologies if I missed y'all. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. As always, our sponsors are linked in the description on YouTube. They're tagged on Facebook. Shout out to Brock, Parrish, Unique Physique, Restored Motions, and On Fire Athletes, the platform powered by GameCoin. Y'all check it out. Okay, I got to go. We'll see you for AFR 3. Locked on LSU is already live. So YouTube, podcast, please go check it out. We appreciate y'all greatly. Have an